the topic of Nandi and Vrashabha. That has been a very interesting and engaging one since millennium, one can say. And Nandi and Vrashabha are in fact separate strictly from the Shaiva point of view, both from the Shaiva Agamas and the Puranas. In fact, they are Nandi is the closest associate and a Parshada who always remains with Shiva, and his role is entirely different as a doorkeeper, Dwarapala, while Vrashabha is his Vahana. While Nandi is a human being, Vrashabha is a animal with 4 legs, and they have different connotations, different significance, entirely different origins. But it is intriguing that in the course of a few centuries, both have become together, and in the common popular usage in the Bhakti tradition, as well as there are some early texts also where Nandi and Vrashabha have been spoken together and interchangeably. Nandi and Vrashabha have been used, and in the popular stotras, bhajans, and Shiva is addressed as we have Nandi Vahana Namah Shivaya. But Nandi is Navari, Vasanavariya Vahana, and of course there is a special feature of Adhikara Nandi, where Nandi himself becomes Vahana, and it is in some Shiva temples in South India, it is celebrated during the Utsava, and that is, they call it Adhikara Nandi, which my friend Balaji will speak later. So now I confine myself only with Nandi, and I'm not going to say anything about Vrashabha and how they become together in the course of time. And first of all, in this happy and important occasion, all of us, and especially myself, I offer my namaskaram, salutations to the memory of Shri Gaurishwar Bhattacharya, who 40-50 years back has written a very wonderful article, Nandi and Vrashabha, a very thoroughgoing article at the time, both the textually as well as in the art and Nandi sculptures from various parts of India. He has first part in fact deals with the textual sources, and the second part in fact where the deals with the art and representation of Nandi as well as Vrashabha. I am confining myself only with Nandi, and as being a Sanskritist and working on texts, I confine myself only with the texts. In the prayer which I recited, it is from the Thevaram of Thirugnana Sambandar, the early 7th century, where Nandi is the name of one of the names of Shiva. And I have given in my presentation 2 or 3 instances where Nandi in Thirugnana Sambandar, the Shaiva Nayanmar, one of the earliest Shaiva Nayanmars, as well as Tirunavakarashar, addresses Shiva as Nandi. So that we will see later. Nandi as a name of Shiva. In the very ancient period, Nandi was also one of the names of Shiva. Some of the seals and coins of the early Gupta period contain Nandi as another name of Shiva, along with others. To support the textual source where Nandi is addressed as one of the names of Shiva, we have also the visual representation in the ancient period where Nandi appears as the name of Shiva. In the Puranas and also in sculpture, especially in the southern Bharat, we find Nandi as one of the members of Shiva's Gana, an attendant serving him always with devotion. The other variants of Nandi are Nandika, Nandisha, Nandikeshwara, Nandikesha, and so on. In many Puranas such as Shiva Mahapurana, Rudra Samhita, Kailasa Samhita, Varaha Purana, Linga Purana, as well as in the Kurma Purana, we have and then also in the Ramayana and Mahabharata, we get many references to the various roles and acts of Nandi which he plays. Nandi in the Varaha Purana. We find references about Nandi's birth, etc. in the Shabdakalpadruma, where it gives a few passages from the Varaha Purana, which state that God Shiva himself was born as Nandi to the sage Salankayana. In the Kurma Purana, we have the very interesting story about the birth of Nandi in the Kurma Purana. It says that Nandi at the holy Tirtha known as Japyeshwara was reciting the Sri Rudram for day and night for a long period. Shiva appeared before him and granted him equality with himself, Atma Samanatvam, and deceiving death, that is Mrityu Vanchana, which means that he can, that is Ichha Mrityu is another word, where he can put an end to his life as he wishes, not in a regular way where one that is the death also is under his control. That is Mrityu Vanchana. That is the boon which Shiva grants to him. Again in the same Kurma Purana, we get the birth, how Nandi was born, a longish chapter where it gives the birth of Nandi. He was born as the sage Shilada. That is, Shilada as himself was born as a boon of Shiva. Then after being born, Shilada sage again performs penance, tapas. From Shiva he prayed for a son, not born out of the womb, Ayonija, and without death. That son was named Nandi, who from his birth was fully devoted to Shiva and was reciting the Sri Rudram crores of times. Nandi, because immediately after he was born, he was pleasing to everybody by his appearance. That is why he was named by his father Shilada as Nandi, Nandayati iti Nandi. Pleased by Nandi's bhakti, Shiva grants him the status of remaining always by his side and immortality, as wished by him as well as by his father. Shiva also makes Nandi the lord of all the Ganas, where in the Linga Purana we get a little elaborate story of Nandi's birth. Here also we find almost similar story narrated in many passages. Sage Shilada was performing severe penance and etc. the same thing, and that son was Nandi, who were exactly similar form of Shiva. And this we can see in the some of the Shiva temples in Tamil Nadu, where at the Gopuram, that is main Gopuram, that is a doorway, on the left side we can see Nandi with 4 hands, exactly like holding Parashu and Mriga on the top and the Anjali Hasta, and with his spouse Suyasha. So these are some of the verses taken from the Linga Purana, a longish chapter, and just to show how the Tata Pranamya Devesham Stutva Vacha Shilashana, etc. Then like etc. This is just the passages. There are much more passages, just I am giving you some example. Then we get the Nandi's heroic and valorous acts. Nandi being not only a Dwarapala, doorkeeper, but he also fights in the war of Shiva's Yuddha with Tripura Samhara, where we get the references about Nandi's the Shiva Mahapurana, Rudra Samhita, Yuddha Khanda. There we get how Nandi was himself fighting along with Shiva, and he is also contributing for the Tripuras and other Asuras, Shumbha, Nishumbha, etc. Of course, Shumbha, Nishumbha, we get also references about in the Devi Mahatmya, where Devi fights with Shumbha and other Asuras. But here also we get, and Kartikeya was also fighting along with Shiva. And this is to show that how Nandi, not only a doorkeeper, but also a valorous warrior, and helped Shiva, that is in fact contributed, we can to the killing of other Asuras. That is from a few from the Purana reference. Again, this is from the Tevaram of Tirunavukkarashar. பரியதோர் பாம்பரை மேல் ஆர்த்தார் போலும் பாசுபதம் பார்த்தற்கு அளித்தார் போலும் கரியதோர் களிற்று உரிவை போர்த்தார் போலும் காவாலம் கட்டங்க கொடியார் போலும் பெரியதோர் மலை வில்லா எய்தார் போலும் பேர் நந்தி என்னும் பெயரார் போலும். That is Navakarshar sings on Shiva. That is Shiva has the name Per Nandi. That Per Nandi, and in the some of the popular usages for which I do not have any textual reference, Shiva is known as Periya Nandi and the actual Nandi is known as Nandi. So Shiva himself is Per Nandi ennum peyarar. So this is Per becomes the big, means big Nandi, probably Peyar the name. So Shiva has the name Nandi. Again, this is from the Tirunjana Sambandhar Thevaram, where to show that Nandi Venduyar Urubini Vidaigal Tirvador Pundiyar Tuludu Yel Puvanatturai Andi Venpirayinodu Arushudiya Nandiyai Adithoda Nanmayagume. So Arushudiya Nandi, all referring to Shiva. Shiva who has Ganga on his head. That Nandi, if we all pray to him, it is beneficial to all. So that is the one of the Thevaram hymns. Another one is Nandi Namam Namashivayave. So Shiva has the name Nandi. There are also other references, just I have selected only a few. Nandi Namam Namashivayave. So Shiva is also known as Nandi. Now, Nandi as a greatest Bhakta of Shiva, as a warrior, as a Dwarapala, doorkeeper, etc. Now he himself is a Guru. Guru in the sense he is also a disciple, Shishya of Shiva, and plays as a role of a Guru, both. Apart from his position as the chief of Shiva's Ganas, Nandi is the receiver as well as the transmitter of some of the scriptures. He plays a dual role, Shishya of Shiva as well as the Guru of certain Shaiva traditions. From Shiva, in receiving some of the Shaiva Agamas, a few Salapuranas, he becomes a Shishya. The greatest text that Nandi received from Shiva and in his turn taught to sage Sanat Kumara is the Shiva Dharma. So it is called a Nandi Prokta. And when originally taught by Shiva to Devi and others, since Nandi remained always with Shiva, he heard all those things, those scriptures, and then he teaches to Sanat Kumara and other sages. So I give the reference from the Shiva Dharma, very beginning verses. So Meru Prishte Samasenam Rishi Sanghaihi Samavritam Lokanugrahakam Shantam Sarvajñam Nandikeshwaram Tesham Madhye Samuthaya Munihi Brahmasutotamaha Sanatkumaraha Sutapaha Prishchati Sma Yathavidi. So in the Meru Prishta, when in Sarvajñam Nandikeshwaram, so Nandi was is a Sarvajña, all-knowing, highly learned. We get references in the Linga Purana during his birth. So he is also a greatest Nipuna. He has studied all scriptures. So that Sanat Kumara addresses him to Nandi to teach him the Shiva Dharma. So then Nandi starts teaching the Shiva Dharma, and it is one of the greatest scriptures of our Bharatiya culture, Shiva Dharma, Shiva Dharmotara, Shivopanishad, etc., etc. And it was this greatest scripture which extols Shiva Bhakti and a social attitude towards every being on the basis of Shiva's Bhakti, Shiva Bhakti, and various offerings to Shiva temple festivals, etc., etc. It is from the 11th, 12th, 13th centuries in the Chola inscriptions we can see some of the Shiva temples. They have made, Chola kings have made endowments to preach, to discuss, to discourse on Shiva Dharma, Shiva Dharmam Vakkanithal. So Vyakhyana, that is in the temple, Mahabharata and the Shiva Dharma were expounded in the Shiva temples, and special endowments have been made. We have some of the inscriptions in the 11th, 12th century. Such is the Shiva Dharma's speciality, importance. Then we have the Achintya Vishwasadakya Agama, one of the Shaiva Agamas. It is the 28 are the Mola Agamas, then we have 200 and more Upa Agamas. Achintya Vishwasadakya Agama was received by Nandi and from Shiva. So we get the utterances Ishvara Uvacha, Prakachitamaya, Nandikeshwara Uvacha. So this is the Sadhu Sadhu Mahanandin Shrinu Vakshiya Samasataha. O Nandi, you hear me teaching the Agama. So that's what Ishvara Shiva begins. So it was taught to Nandi. Then the Chidambara Mahatmyam. So the Shivadharma, Achintya Vishwasadakya Agama. Then we have the Stalapuranam, Chidambara Mahatmyam, one of the very earliest texts on Chidambaram temple, Stalapurana. This was received by Nandi and was spoken by Shiva to Nandi, which Nandi then expounds to other sages. So Suta at the beginning of this Chidambara Mahatmyam says that originally this Chidambara Mahatmyam was taught by Shiva to Nandi, and the Nandi teaches to Sanat Kumara again, Sanat Kumara teaches to Vyasa, Vyasa then teaches to Suta, which Suta teaches to the sages in the Naimisharanya. So that is how it begins. So Chidambara Mahatmyam is also from Nandi. So here Nandi, in all these things, we can see that Nandi receives from Shiva the scriptures, then he in fact teaches to Sanat Kumara and others. And this is the festival of birth of Nandi is celebrated in the, just a minute, Thirumalapadi in the Shiva temple, Thirumalapadi near Thiruvayyar on the bank of river Kollidam, where we have the celebration. Every year in the temple it is celebrated, and Nandi's image, after a few days, it is brought to Thiruvayyaru, nearby area, one of the earlier famous Shiva temples. And there the Nandi's marriage with Suyasha Devi is celebrated during one of the Uttavas every year. So birth of Nandi as well as the same is described in the Linga Purana and others. So his marriage with Suyasha Devi, etc. Then Shivajnana Bodham, one of the important Shaiva texts, Shivajnana Bodha, Shaiva Siddhanta text, was taught by Nandi to Paranjodi, then comes to Vaikandar. So Nandi is the originator of the Shivajnana Bodham text. Then we have the Uttara Karanagama, we have the Pratishtha of Nandi and the Shiva temples. Then we have the Tirumular. Tirumandiram, Tirumular says at the beginning, he says that Nandi was one of the earliest teacher, and Shiva Yogi, Patanjali, Vyagrapada and himself, Tirumular, were the disciples of in that tradition, and the Tirumandiram, he belongs to that tradition originated by Nandi. Okay, so since I have to conclude. Then Nandi and Mahakala, this is in the Nitya Puja of Shaiva Agama, Shiva Puja, as prescribed with the Shaiva Agama, and even now it is performed. Nandi and Mahakala on the southern side of the doorway. So, and Nandi's Dhyanam, a visualization, Raktam Trilochanam, Yamya Shakhayam, Nandinam Sthitam, Savya Vama Karasta Akshamala Sholam Jatanvitam. So he has the Akshamala and Shola and Nandi's Dhyana. This is how he should be worshipped daily along with the Mahakala. And again in the Shiva Dharma we have Nandi's prayer. Shulapanihi Mahaprajnaha Nandishaha Shiva Bhavitaha Shiva Dhyanaika Paramaha. So he is always meditating on Shiva, Shiva Bhakti Parayana, one of the greatest devotees of Shiva, Bhakta. Shantim Karotume Shanto Dharme Cha Matimuttamam. Then now this is in the Aparajita Paricha. Here I think the transition, I think Nandi and Vrishabha are identified, and in the Aparajita Paricha we have these references. Yes, we have also another reference in the Shiva temple, just last one. 5 Nandis, Pancha Nandis are prescribed to be installed at different places in the Shiva temple, and it is not actually Nandi as described in this. They are actually Vrishabhas, but they are identified as Nandi, Pancha Nandi in the 5 prakaras. And with this I conclude my brief presentation. Once again I thank everybody for your patient hearing and for this great opportunity to share some of the views. And this has these papers I request Sri Sanjay Jha. After the seminar, the papers should be collected and revised and published, because they should not go unpublished or go. So I make efforts for the publication of these papers. And once again, I thank you all.